Royal LePage just downgraded their GTA real estate forecast. This isn't a tweak, it's actually a real adjustment, and believe me, this isn't the first one. They now expect GTA home prices to drop another 3%. And condos, they're already down 7.4% in price year over year. I've actually seen forecasts that say that the prices are going to further decrease by another 10%. Now, check out the Royal LePage forecast chart for major regions in Canada. Check out Quebec City. It's forecasted that their prices will increase 15% year over year. Wow, lots of surprises in this forecast, so stay with me. I'm Linda, one of the Ragona Sisters, and in moments like this, when things feel uncertain and there's a lot of hesitation, that's when the quiet shifts start to happen, so you need to stay informed. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe because I'm breaking down the Royal LePage news release that just came out, I believe, a couple of days ago now. And we've all heard the headlines by now. GTA sales are up and listings are growing and buyers have more choices. Tell us something that we haven't heard before. So what else is happening? Markets like Quebec and Atlantic Canada are still holding strong. Not all of Canada is like this, of course. Toronto and Vancouver, once the divas of Canada, are dragging down the national average for months now. Shouldn't be surprise to many at this point, especially viewers of this channel. Across Canada, the national aggregate price is flat, just up by 0.1%. That's basically nothing. And that's year over year. But quarter to quarter tells a little bit of a story. It actually slipped by 1.2%. That's mostly driven by depreciation in major markets across the country over the summer. And if you're wondering what aggregate price actually means, well, it's the blended average of all home types like condos, towns, and detached. They're all rolled into one number. Now, here's something else that kind of stood out to me in the report. With the national forecast showing a small bump in Q4 in prices, only Ontario and Vancouver are going in the opposite direction. And to zero in on Ontario, especially the GTA, on a quarterly basis, the aggregate price of homes decreased by 3.5%. That divergence matters. It actually means local dynamics are overpowering national optimism. And Ontario, it's directly affected by the ongoing tariff issue, exposed and reacting faster than most provinces. Buyers feel it, sellers feel it, and it's tightening the market in ways national stats can't fully explain. And now the Bank of Canada lowered borrowing costs, as you all know, and some economists think that more cuts are definitely coming. First-time homebuyers really aren't jumping to buy anything, and according to a recent Royal LePage survey, get this, more than 82% of Canadians actively working towards their first home are holding off for at least a year. That is big news. That's huge because what happens is the absence of these buyers causes a bottleneck in the market. It shows a lack of confidence, it shows fear, and it shows uncertainty. So even if they can buy, a lot of people still won't. Inflation's been inside the Bank of Canada's target range for about 20 straight months, which some say is a positive thing because we can't let inflation rage. But job insecurity, especially for younger Canadians, that's real. And that probably explains why a lot of them don't want to, jump off the diving end and buy a piece of real estate. Some speculate it will likely stick around until Canada reaches a new trade agreement with the US. Some say when the deal actually happens, if it happens at all, that could be the first signal of a turnaround. The moment when prices start to climb again, but other variables have to line up, in my opinion. And mortgage rates are still high compared to pandemic levels, but they have dipped, so we can appreciate that. Some are now around 3%, which by a long-term standard is actually supportive. Some speculate another 2 rate cuts are actually coming down the pipeline. Now, back to the Royal LePage forecast. They didn't call this a crash. They called it a stall. They expect the uptick in sales that started this summer to actually carry into the fall and setting the stage for a brisk 2026 spring if, and that's a big if, confidence keeps building. We will actually follow that very closely. In the near term, prices are expected to tread water, but lower borrowing costs and better affordability could pull buyers back to the table. And then there's something else, the return to office trend that's renewing demand in urban cores. Meanwhile, families are still looking for deals in the suburbs and rural spots, just not with the same intensity we saw during the economic shifts of 2020 and 2021. Now, Royal LePage also applauded the federal government's plan to build more housing. But I'm not so confident in these modular homes. Like I said this in the past, and I'll say it again, the idea sounds good on paper. It does, because it's affordable price points. But when you actually strip it, you're talking about homes built on leased lands. And leased lands means monthly lease payments. Realistically, your leased land amount could be about $1,000. And I know it all depends on the square footage at the end of the day, but that's pretty hefty, even if it's 500, 800. So while the sticker price might look appealing, once you add lease costs, maintenance fees, taxes, utilities, it's not the budget dream it sounds like. And Royal LePage report also shows that listings are growing faster than buyer activity, meaning more choice, less urgency, and longer days on the market. Homes are sitting about 2 months on the market on average, and that's a big shift from the pandemic days. Remember, there were shacks flying off the shelf, and you didn't need any talent to sell those. Now agents are getting real, and they're getting real creative trying to move their listings. Just the other day, I saw a listing offering free Raptors tickets with the sale. Like, buy this house and you can go to the game on us. And also, I'm getting calls from out-of-town realtors asking if I have buyers for their listings. Normally, that only happens during office meetings. Now it's like full-blown cold calling amongst members. It actually reminds me of the early 2000s. And another example, and this one's my favorite, buy this house and we'll throw in a wine fridge fully stocked, because nothing says welcome home like 12 bottles of Merlot and a mortgage that needs a drink too. It's wild how out of touch some owners still are, especially the ones who need to sell, because every day they wait could be costing them money. Like the homeowners who can't afford their pending renewals, or maybe they just have the wrong advice, I don't know. Anyway, right now, it tells you a lot about buyer confidence. People are hesitant, not just because of uncertainty, but also because of reports like this, which don't help, which is predicting a downward pressure. Let's be real. And I want to emphasize on the word a stall in pricing. And that's an important word, because a stall can start a new shift once the wheels start to turn. But in which direction? At the end of the day, a forecast is just a prediction. It's not a concrete path. I've seen many predictions or forecasts in my career, and sometimes the opposite happens. Here's what I want you to think about. Markets don't wait for perfect timing. They move when confidence changes. And by the time a narrative flips, by the time headlines say markets are heating up again, the smart money will have already made their moves. So stay alert, watch the numbers and follow the data, and watch for the subtle signs, because they do matter as well, because we will definitely be watching those. If this helped see the market a little bit clearer, hit subscribe. It helps get this video out to more people. Thank you so much for watching this, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.